Good morning and welcome back to Kirkstone. Well, we have a box here which has once contained a pair of size 8 shoes, but that looks like a very big 8, doesn't it? Well, that's not really that important. What's more important is there are more deliveries in the in-tray. So let's have a look at what Mr. Postman has delivered. It's a good strong box, I'll keep that. Right, so it's nicely packed. It's had things out, but this is not padding, this is plantage. Well, this is pertinent and germane, relevant and cogent, because the first plant we've opened is a fabulous little Sansevieria fishery. So we've now worked out that despite the misleading postcode, this is from my brilliant friend Sans Al, a specialist Sansevieria grower from Wales. And I do have a little Adramyscus, it's a hell of a jump from Sansevieria to Adramyscus, a little Sansevieria fishery. And after the last video I was contacted by a number of people saying they've been looking for this plant for ages and they couldn't find it anywhere. Would it be any way possible for me to get them one? And this is what I have done. So this was the last Sansevieria fishery that Al had, and it is going into that position. Now you will remember, I'm sure, that Sans, or Al I should really say, is downsizing his collection, and he's been collecting Sansevieria. In fact, he's one of the first of the big Sansevieria collectors, long before they were fashionable, and you never saw these rarer tropical species, because what you saw everywhere and everywhere was Sansevieria trifasciata, laurentii, and to a lesser extent harnii in people's houses. It was never a subject that the inverted commas serious cactus and succulent grower would grow. That one is a very small Sansevieria franciscii, probably, but it may be a hybrid with franciscii. Al was quite honest when he said, I'm pretty certain it's franciscii, but not 100% certain. But it looks like franciscii, so to all intents and purposes, it is Sansevieria franciscii. Next one is a lovely plant. It really grows into quite a spectacular plant. And this is a very succulent Sansevieria called Powellii. Okay, so all of these plants are quite small, which is good because bit of a personal prejudice here. Sometimes when you see older specimen, inverted commas, Sansevierias, they're actually quite misshapen because they've been grown quite hard. They have one or two leaves, and they've generally had a hard life, which probably replicates very much what they would endure in the South African, sort of East African, tropical African area, going from Somalia down towards Mozambique on the eastern coast of the African continent. But I prefer plants like this, which are in between lush and hard, kind of average looking, and because they're young they will grow in the caring environs of the Kirkstone greenhouse into specimen plants, one hopes. So this is Sansevieria powellii. I want to do some research on spoon-leaved Sansevierias when I finish talking to you. Then there were 3 rosetiforms. There was this little Franciscii. Again, it's got that usual snake plant or dragon plant variegation, the grey leading into the green. And then the second of the rosetiforms from Francisci was this fishery, which is the second fishery in the collection. This one's slightly smaller, but I like the fact that this hasn't been a cutting. It hasn't come off a rhizome. You can actually see the caudex there, and that's the plant in its entirety. This is all that there has ever been, and I like that. I like the fact that it's coming into the Sansevieria collection in its entirety. It's not leaving part of itself behind. Okay, so that was Sansevieria. Clean the label. Sansevieria fishery, and then the final rosetiform was this very, very nice powellii. And again, this is as a complete plant. This is the plant. It hasn't been an extension from somewhere else or a runner. And then finally we have this lovely Tylocodon, and this is the rare Tylocodon pearsonii, and I don't make any apologies for including this because it comes from a very, very similar place and similar environment in terms of aridity to the Sansevierias I've shown you, and also because it serves in its way as an introduction into the Tylocodon and cotyledon videos which will follow shortly. But that wasn't a deliberate ploy, it's just what actually happened when I opened the box. Okay, so that's it for now. The next time you see these will be when they're all potted up, and for now I shall leave you with yet another flying overview of absolutely stunning, and I mean stunning, Sansevierias from Sans Al. They really are absolutely exquisite little tropical gems, and I love them. I love Sansevierias and I love Droseraena. Absolutely gorgeous plants. Okay, so it's goodbye from Al, Sans Al. It's goodbye from the Sansevierias, and it's goodbye from Kirkstone. there's the first 3 little Rossettiform Sansevierias from Sans Al. The first one is that absolutely fabulous thick-leaved Sansevieria. Can you see the label there? Powellii. We're starting to get some nice crenellations on the leaves there. I hope you can see the waves which are forming on the sides of the leaves. So the leaves actually come out quite straight, and then they become crenellate with age. And then the second one of the triumvirate was this little Francisci. I'll just remind you that Al did say probably Francisci because it came from Francisci parents as far as we know, but for whatever reason Al decided that he was not 100% certain, only about 99. So as far as I'm concerned, it's as close to Francisci genetically as it could possibly be, and there is it. And then the third of the triumvirate was this second into the collection, this little fishery. Okay, now this is destined, unfortunately, to go somewhere else, but not yet. So I'm going to be looking after it for a while. So I think one of the most notable things about this fishery, apart from the remarkable coloration, if I can just narrow in on that field, it's kind of like a Gonialo variegata type striping system there. Absolutely gorgeous tropical stripes. It really gives an impression of a verdant foliage growing in the jungle, although it is a desert plant. And then there's that remarkable, I don't know how close I can get without losing focus, that remarkable red bronze edging. And I think I did remark on this before on the other section of the video on fishery, that it's got that reddy brown or reddy bronze edging, and the very tip of the edging is actually white, and that really makes the whole thing glow, or as we say, pop. And as this is a seed grown plant, not a plant which has been propagated from rhizome, we can see that we do have that little cordex which I've raised very slightly, so you can see the cordex as the stem, or the trunk as it were, to the overall plant. So I'll just give a kind of stationary view of fishery there, because it really is an absolutely stunning little plant, and I really can't wait for it to grow and branch, even if this is not my plant. The one that I have got, which is more or less the same size. So that was the fishery. That's the Francisci, or Francisi, however you want to pronounce it, named after a Francis anyway. And then finally that Powellii.